Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Dadas Show, coming to you from Faraja Cancer Support Trust here in Parklands. I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. Now, as our name suggests, the Dadas Show aspires to promote the spirit of sisterhood and solidarity amongst Kenyan women. And we do this by creating an open and a safe platform for women to discuss issues pertaining to their health and lifestyle, to their work, to their career, to their families, and anything that affects them in one way or another. We also take an opportunity to acknowledge and celebrate women who are doing formidable things, not only for themselves, but for their communities at large. Now, World Cancer Day is an international day that is marked on February the 4th. It is put together to raise awareness of cancer and to encourage prevention, detection, and treatment. The World Cancer Day 2025 theme is United by Unique. This, of course, emphasizes on the importance of a people-centered approach to cancer care. This, of course, puts people and their stories in the middle of conversation. So as we continue to have a conversation around a people-centered approach on care, we cannot miss to acknowledge and to feature an organization that has made it their mission and their vision to offer not only emotional but practical support to everybody and anybody who is affected by cancer. Now, remember to keep this conversation going on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. You can also reach us through directly our Facebook page, which is Dadas Show KBC. You can also reach me directly at Ashiko the host across all social media platforms. Before we get into today's commemorating episode, let's take a look at the following feature.
Kenya joined the world to commemorate World Cancer Day under the theme United by Unique, a reminder that every cancer journey matters and that collective action is key to ensuring compassionate, equitable care for all. This year, cancer awareness is focused heavily on cervical cancer prevention with a strong emphasis on HPV vaccination and regular screening. According to World Health Organization's 2022 report, Kenya reported 44,726 new cancer cases and 29,317 cancer-related deaths. Behind every statistic is a personal story.
I was diagnosed in 2024, February, with breast cancer, stage 3B, and I've been going for treatment. I started with chemotherapy. I did eight cycles of chemotherapy. I went on and had a surgery, modified radical mastectomy, and now I'm on my radiotherapy sessions. I felt a mass in my breast. It was a bit hard, but I didn't think, and I couldn't even think it would be cancerous, because back in the year 2011, I had a very small one, which was removed. It was just a minor surgery, and it wasn't cancerous. It was fibroma. So at that time, I didn't seek medical attention as fast as I could, and I stayed for a couple of like a year with the mass, but somewhere in 2023, the month of October, I felt I should go and seek help, because I started feeling a little bit of itching pain in the lump. When I received the news, it was like tragic to me. I didn't expect that. I broke down, especially due to the way I was not prepared. They didn't even prepare me to receive the news, the way I'm going to receive the news. So the doctor just looked at the results, and he was like, "Hannah, you have cancer and we are going to take out that breast."
Access to quality cancer treatment remains a challenge as stigma continues to rise.
I thank God that I had a support system which rose to my treatment my family, and the society. Actually, I had to do a fundraising at some point. But before that, somebody mentioned to me about Faraja. And when I came to Faraja, they supported me. They supported my chemotherapy sessions. And after I did my surgery, they supported when I started radiotherapy. They still supported my sessions.
Anne is now drawing hope from her new found family, Faraja Cancer Support Trust. For Dadas Show, my name is Miriam Odanga.
Welcome back and welcome to this special episode of World Cancer Day Commemoration 2025. And today we are joined by members of the organization that I was talking about. Remember, the theme of this year is United by Unique. What does that mean? It means that it is a focus on a people-centered approach where individuals and their stories are placed in the heart of conversation. So right next to me, I have Mr. David Makomi, who is the Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Faraja Cancer Support Trust. Karibu sana sir.
Thank you for having us on the show.
Next we have Madam Annabelle Kanyari, who is a breast cancer patient stroke survivor. Karibu sana Annabelle. We are honored to have you here with us.
Thank you.
And finally, we have Kajuju Gikunda, who is a counseling psychologist, and she's a volunteer therapist at Faraja offices, you know, offering her free services. We'll get to that and what motivates you to offer your services, your expertise at no cost. So welcome my wonderful panel. I also cannot fail to acknowledge my wonderful audience who are joining us. Some of them are caregivers, some of them are survivors, some of them are, you know, part of the organization, but we definitely appreciate you taking time to sit with us. Karibuni sana. I also want to appreciate you at home for tuning in to Dadas Show week in, week out as we discuss contentious issues that affect the lives of women and actually Kenyans in general. I want to start with you, Bwana CEO. Tell us a little bit more about Faraja Cancer Trust. Actually, it's Faraja Cancer Support Trust. Yes. And how it came to being.
Thank you so much. And Faraja Cancer Support Trust was founded 15 years. We are 15 years this year.
Oh, happy birthday.
And was actually founded by a cancer survivor herself who had treatment out of the country and saw what was happening and the services being provided in support services in the place where she was having her treatment. And when she got back, she decided to do this for Kenya, for Kenyans, to establish a trust that will support patients and their families and their caregivers through their treatment journey, right from diagnosis all the way to survivorship, and offer support services that enable patients complete their treatments or be able to bear the distress that comes with a cancer diagnosis. So the services that we provide, which are supportive, that's why the word support is actually in the middle of what we do, complementary therapies and services that enable patients either who are going through chemotherapy or through radiotherapy or who have had cancer surgery. We provide all these other enabling, if you want, services and therapies that enable, empower, and build resilience in the patients, in their families, and their caregivers, and their loved ones to go through the journey. We do appreciate that a cancer diagnosis is very, very distressing for everyone around the patient. And that is where Faraja comes in, to remind you that you not walk around the journey, yes. That we at Faraja, we open our doors every day and our therapists come in to support those patients. Yes, that's what we are all about, yes. Here in Nairobi and also in Eldoret.
I want to move on to you, Annabelle. Annabelle, you're a survivor. You have been very vocal about your cancer journey, and it is so encouraging, especially in this particular era where people do not want to have conversations around cancer. And I feel like sometimes talking about something normally takes away the power that it has, you know, so that we want to encourage people to talk about cancer, to talk about their journeys, so that more and more people who are suffering in silence can be able to come out. So kindly, Annabelle, share with us your story.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my cancer journey. I started in April 2022, where I was just scratching on the side of my breast. I didn't have any lump at all. I was just scratching on the side. So just out of, I don't know why I decided that we should go to the hospital. So we went to see a breast specialist. He just deals with breasts. So when I went there, he told me, when I gave him my problem, he told me to go and do a mammogram, of which I didn't see the connection. Why do a mammogram? I mean, he just have given me an ointment or removed whatever it is. So, but he insisted. So I went, I did a mammogram, brought back the results. Then he sent me for an ultrasound, and I kept on asking, why is he keeping sending me all these sort of things? Yeah. So we went and did the ultrasound. When we brought it back, he told me, no, go now and do the ultrasound-aided biopsy. So this journey was taking this long. So we went and we went to the facility he sent us. I did the biopsy. Then it was going to take 14 days. So I was wondering, am I going to stay scratching all these 14 days? Why don't you give me something? He said, no, you just have to wait. And all this time he's not telling me the probability of what it could be. So the day of picking the results, incidentally, that day I didn't go with my husband, I went with my son. So we get inside and we start cracking jokes fast. Then he told me that the results are here. So he started talking of cancer. Hey, so I said, you're cracking a joke. Wait, let my son come in and also hear this joke. Yes. So I call my son from the reception, he comes inside. So he starts explaining about the cancer and the findings. So I looked at him, the first question I asked him is, from where did I get cancer? Because it never occurred to me that anything like that could have happened to me. Then he told me, you ask him where it's come from, and I'm also getting shocked because for the 30 years he's been in practice, I'm the earliest case he's ever handled. So it was stage 1A. So instead of me asking questions, he's asking me the question, so who told you, did you have an idea? I said, no, I'm just coming for something small and you're giving me another story. So we cracked jokes, and then he told me, we asked him the way forward. My son had a lot of questions to ask because it really didn't get into me. So I said, it was on a Wednesday. So I told him, I don't mind removing it tomorrow. Then he told me, okay, can you go, you have a husband? Yes, can you go and bring your husband? I said, no problem. So I remember we went home and my husband asked me, so what did the doctor say? Because he had to go for a certain meeting. He says, I have cancer. He went into shock. He's the one who went into shock, not me. So he told me, you don't look like somebody who's been given that story. I said, yeah, but ask my son. That's the story we were told. I think maybe he's cracking a joke or something. It was my wish to have the whole breast removed. Yes. And unfortunately on Friday, my mother-in-law passed on. So my husband had a double tragedy. A wife who's sick and a mother who's not there. So it was a gloomy weekend, but Monday I was in the hospital and had the surgery. The breast was removed and I woke up like nothing had happened. I was okay, my kids were okay, because we sat all of us and discussed the pros and cons, and the doctor was telling me, this is nothing to worry about. So I went through the surgery. That was on May 16th. After 8 weeks or 10 weeks, then I started the chemo journey. So I did 6 rounds of chemo, and I came out strong. I had no problem at all. For me, I had no problem. Okay, my hair fell out. I was bald. But in our home, we have a very humorous environment. There was no need of getting scared. And after that, after the chemo, after 1 month, I now did the radio. That was close to Christmas. So Christmas, the chemo really the radio really put me down because you get tired. I had all these effects, but 15 sessions and I pulled through. But my saving grace was the family unit. The love in the family was so strong. And my husband and my children really shielded me from the outside world. Yes. They never allowed anybody to come near me. And whenever somebody came, they were standing there, and you make a negative comment, they throw out. Yes. That love was too strong. Yes. And I pulled through. When we finished the radio, I was okay. And we went on holiday to Mombasa like nothing had ever happened. And we came back. So coming back that January 2023, I had an appointment. I went to see the doctor. He just looked at me. He told me, "You don't have cancer. We know the people who have cancer, you have nothing on you. Just go and come back in, I think, April." I go back there. He tells me, "Because you're insisting on, okay, you have to come for the appointments, go and do the PET scan." So I went and I booked in KU referral. I did the PET scan, and I had no cancer cells at all. And I thank God, because I never argued. I took the step. I had never thought that screening and all these things are important, but that day I say it is God. Because even the doctor told me it would have taken me 3, 4, 5 years, it would have been on stage 4. Now it was arrested in the beginning of stage 1. I thank God, because I never argued. It was discovered that early, and took the steps, and I don't know. I keep on saying, God is real. God is real.
I like the point about the mammogram and getting screened. And part of the things that are very, very key about World Cancer Day is to remind people to get screened. Yes. It is always very easy for us to sit and say that, not my monkey, not my problem. So you keep thinking, where would I, like what Annabelle was asking, where would I get that from? Where would it be coming from? I'm healthy, I eat right. But please remember, this month and even throughout the month, please kindly let us get ourselves screened. So thank you so much, Annabelle. I'll be back with you shortly. But let me jump to Kajuju. From a psychological point of view, what is the importance of a people-centered approach to cancer care?
Thank you. So I'll start with better treatment outcomes. Most times people assume that once you've been given the diagnosis, the treatment modalities, you just jump right into it. Yes. I think it's important when the patient, not just the family, the patient is made to understand what their body is going to go through, so that they are able to say, okay, I am ready to take this up. Okay, right now I am not in the right mental space to take this treatment up. Mostly when the patient understands what they are going to go through. For example, for her case, she made the decision to have the mastectomy because she understood this is what is happening and this is what is going to happen to my body. It helps the patient to take time to go through the treatment wholly because they were made to understand initially. I also think family is very important during treatment, and for us as psychologists, when we are able to have the family together with the patient and help them understand this journey that they are about to take on, because no one is prepared to be a caregiver, no one is prepared to be a patient. One day you walk into the doctor's room and you come out with a new job description in your family or in your household. I think it's important when the family knows, okay, today I am going to help my family member do this. Right now I am so overwhelmed with things in my life, things happening to the person I am caring for, and I need support. I need external support, and they know where to get the external support. I also think it reduces anxiety. When somebody hears cancer, most of them think, okay, cancer, death, bills, we sell everything. But when you get to sit with someone who helps you to break down this journey that you're about to take, it helps you to reduce the chances of you being anxious every day or depressed about the journey you're about to partake. It also helps to validate yourself. We mostly tend to assume that the journey has to be lonely. But once you're able to get, like her doctor, someone who listens to you, who helps you to understand, this is it. I see you, I hear you. If you come in and say, after the chemo, hey, my body. The person helps you to feel seen, to feel heard.
Yes.
And even your psychologist is able to talk to your doctor if you're unable to. But most of the time, if you get a doctor who is able to make you feel seen and heard, you're able to express yourself, and it makes the journey better.
What about you, Bwana Makumi? Is there anything else do you have to add on to the importance before we move on to why you've taken this particular part? What are some of the important attributes to a people approach kind of care?
Yeah, thank you. Increasingly now, and especially in the context of healthcare, the patients and the people around them are what should inform every decision.
Absolutely.
The patient is not a spectator to the process. Is not just somebody looking outside of what is happening. The patient is a participant in the care and focusing on the patient and issues around the patient, whether it is family or whatever is important to the patient.
Yes.
For some people, it could be family. For some people, it could be work, career, plans that they had. Maybe if they were single, they were thinking about marriage. What is important to this person? Maybe they were about to graduate. Maybe they were engaged. So all the things that are important to the patient should also be put at the heart of that care.
Yes.
Because whereas a patient, we as clinicians, as doctors, or as the whole healthcare system, they may focus on the disease.
On the disease.
Disease.
Yes.
And forget the person with the disease. And maybe what the patient may not be too much worried about the disease, they are concerned about their little children.
Of course.
Maybe they are concerned about whether they'll be able to walk their daughter down the aisle.
Of course.
They are concerned about their appearance.
Yeah.
They are concerned about body image. How is this going to change? How will I go back to the office? If they are in school, maybe they're also concerned about, how will they be able to graduate? So when you have a person-centered approach to care, you're not just looking at the disease. You're looking at the person holistically. Yes. You're looking at the person and the issues that are important to them, and you're able to address them. If I go to see my doctor, maybe with following a cancer diagnosis, for example, what are the things I should ask? What should I know? Whether the doctor volunteers that information or not, I am entitled. I'm entitled to certain information to know what tests will be done. I need to know what those tests will say. I need to know how long the treatment will happen. I mean, she was very fortunate, Annabelle, to have a good
early diagnosis.
Early diagnosis and is a doctor. But not everyone is as that fortunate. So we need to be empowered enough, families, men and women, to ask the right questions.
Now let's move on to the holistic approach. Faraja is very key at providing that. What are some of the programs that you have put in place that ensures that this happens? Because, we know the word holistic. Everybody hears holistic. It's one of those, token words, toxic, narcissist, holistic,
We
so
drop it rather
too loosely. So
Too loosely.
what are some of the programs that if somebody is Googling somebody to walk with them on the journey,
Yes.
say Faraja offers this, what are some of the
Yes,
programs that you would describe as your holistic approach?
As part of the holistic approach. Yes. And, in a nutshell, when we say holistic, we are not just focusing on the disease. Yes. We are focusing on the body, mind, and spirit, and soul, yes. And the social and the cultural issues, or everything that is around the patient. Yes. And many of the programs that we at Faraja provide, let patients, we have programs like Zumba, yes. Which is the body in motion, physical activity. That is very critical to pass to people facing cancer, to their caregivers. Yes. They need to keep themselves active. Yes. Actually, there are lots of studies that have shown that physical activity has a beneficial effect on the outcomes. People recover better and faster, even following surgery. And, Zumba, which is basically a dance. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it is just cool.
It's cool.
And it all happens in Faraja.
Yes.
So we don't charge for those services. So men and women would come typically on a Monday at 10 a.m. and dance away, not just to have fun, but also it is good for their heart. It's good for their respiratory system. It's good for their muscles. It is good for their mind. It is good in beating other non-communicable diseases. When you need to talk to someone, a counselor, to talk to someone because they will understand you are in a safe space. And that's part of the therapies that we provide. You may not be to do the big Zumba thingy. You just want a one-on-one to talk to someone. We get that kind of arrangement. We have psychologists like Kajuju here who will talk to you. But then, yes, we do have things like yoga and meditation and breathing and relaxation exercises. Because again, a diagnosis of cancer or any other major illness, it puts you in such a stressful, tense situation. You can actually unconsciously be walking around tense without realizing it, that you're actually tense. And what we do with those mind-body exercises, like yoga, we have instructors, qualified instructors, who will take you through how do you relax. The other therapies like Reiki, Reiki is an energy therapy. And there are things that we always do, and maybe you don't even realize it's like Reiki. Sometimes all you need is a good hug, or someone to hold your hand, or someone to stay with you. And, what? Ashiko has good vibes. But apart from adults, we also do the same things for children. We run programs in Kenyatta National Hospital, which are public hospitals. We run programs in Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. We are in conversations with the KU, the public hospitals, going closer to where patients are. Doing art and craft with the kids. Again, they are not just sitting there waiting for their next chemo. They are children, and when they are doing that, for a moment, they are engrossed in that. They
forget.
Sitting, thinking about cancer. But the other important component, which is of the programs that we run, are support groups. We run 10 support groups here in Nairobi. We have 6 support groups in Eldoret. And support groups serve 2 purposes. They provide a social networking platform for patients to come and meet others facing similar situations. But they also serve a therapeutic purpose. And you come and see other people we have patients who survived like 18 years, 20 years. They've been around. When you see those people,
you feel so encouraged.
Absolutely.
I can imagine. But how about you? How have you benefited by being a friend of Faraja?
I came to Faraja in last year, January. Somebody told me about it and I brought myself. And I wanted, when you're sick, you're just in the house. Even if you have somebody helping you, once in a while they'll step out and you're just at home, wallowing in self-pity or just getting bored, So when I came here, I found Zumba. And I never miss Zumba. I love Zumba. I dance. Yesterday I was here dancing and you really sweat. After that, we have yoga. I've come for something called lymphatic drainage. Drainage, after you have the mastectomy, the hand tends to swell from time to time. So they come and they know how to do it and it goes back to the original form. And outside is very expensive and public places you won't get that. So here, and they do it free for you. They have reflexology. It is very good. I went through it and it is very good. Reiki. Even a place I had a pain after Reiki, the pain goes. There are so many activities, but the most important thing, even when I have time, you come and sit outside here, and you find other people's here also, and you start sharing your stories. You encourage others, others encourage you.
Back at home, for the people who are watching us right now, how can family, how can friends, how can relatives, how can colleagues offer emotional support to those who are affected? Because Faraja is in Nairobi. Somebody has gotten a diagnosis in Mandera. They cannot be able to make it every single week coming down. Here we are. as Dadas show, they're watching us right now. What kind of emotional support do you think they can be offered by their friends, their colleagues, their relatives, and anybody who interacts with them in one way or another?
I'll start with, if you're not sure about what to say, you can just sit and be silent. At times, we think by saying a lot, we are really understanding this person.
Yes.
But most of the time, we get to hurt the patient without knowledge. So if you're uncertain about what you're about to tell the patient or the family members, you can just sit with them and be silent. Sometimes the patient does not need you to do a pity party. They need to live. So if you used to go out for coffee dates with this person, just don't stop because of treatment.
Yeah.
Be present. The most important thing is to be present, be in the moment. They want to go out, you go out for that short, brief moment, come back. Listen to the person. Do not assume you have read enough theses or books to understand the cancer journey of a person. Every person goes through their journey differently. And most importantly, don't always wear a frowny face. It is not okay. We're not saying that it is okay, but please, there is just a calm in a smile. Just make them feel comfortable. Be a bit comfortable around them. Also, don't push them away and make them feel they are not able to.
Yeah. That they are less than.
Yes. If someone can walk to the sink and place their cup after taking water or tea, please let them do. You don't have to make them feel like a baby or they're not able to. If they can move around, please let them move around. But most importantly, if the unit is intact as a family unit, let cancer not be the reason the family breaks. If a colleague comes back to work, they have come back to work. They can work.
So remember that they are the person, they're not the disease. So let's always focus on that. They're bigger than the disease, and definitely we shall be able to overcome. We're going to take a small break, and then we'll be back for the question and answer session. Don't go far away. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you have missed a heck of a fast session, but do not worry. We are getting into the question and answer session on this World Cancer Day commemoration episode, joined by Faraja Cancer Support Trust. So to start us off in this question and answer session, like I mentioned before the break, we do have quite a number of survivors who are with us in our audience, and we would like them to share with us their journey, and tell us a little bit more about themselves and how they're doing so far. So to start us off, we have Triza. Triza, karibu sana.
Asante, I'm Triza. I'm a cancer survivor or a victor. I call myself a victor because it's been a journey. And all along, I thank God because I'm a fighter. I've fought cancer for the last 15 years. And I'm here standing. I just want to encourage those who are battling cancer at the moment that it is not a death sentence. And cancer can be cured locally. Whatever hospital you go to right now in our country, cancer can be treated. Sometimes there are challenges, yes, but it is curable. It is not a death sentence.
I feel like we need to give Triza a hearty hand clap. 15 years is no joke. Let's give her a hearty hand clap. So we are going to move on to, there's a gentleman who we have here who has a completely inspirational story. He's a caregiver, but he'll tell us a little bit more about how he found himself in this particular line of work, volunteering, yeah? So karibu sana Bwana Robert.
Robert Marina is my name. I'm a cancer survivor for the last 38 years. I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a cancer of the lymphatic system, in the year 1986, and I underwent chemo, radio, and surgery at Kenyatta Hospital, and I made it through. And right now I'm a cancer caregiver. I'm also the founder of Champions of Hope, which is a support group, which has got a support group of cancer patients and caregivers, those with those on remission, on active treatment, and it's about giving them hope and inspiring them. One of the main things that we do there is the men's program. There's always been this question, where are the men? Because in the cancer space, it seems to have been dominated by women. You might wonder whether it's only women who get cancers. But what happens in the course of my caregiving, I realized that men don't come out to speak. I've been to several places where we find men are dying very, very, very painful deaths, very miserable deaths, just for the simple reason because they don't want to speak out. Whenever screening is called for, whether it's prostate, breast, because cancers also, even breast cancer also affects the men, you find maybe if it's a mixed screening, about 400 women turn up, 15 or 20 men show up. And when they're asked to come back for follow-up, very few show up. So what we're doing about the men right now, and I would also like to appeal to the men, that it's better you get screened early, because if it's detected in good time, whatever problem it is, whether it's in the prostate, whether it's in the colon, whether it's in the breast, once it's screened early and detected in good time, it's easier to manage and it's even easier to treat. So for men, I know because of the maybe cultural backgrounds, because of our ego, sometimes we tend to feel that when you get unwell, you just rush to the pharmacy, you get some medicine, and then you get back home. Then the disease advances. So men, I'm appealing to them that it is time now for them to speak out and come out, because we really need to be healthy so that we can be able to fend for our families.
Let's give a very hearty hand clap to Robert. I'm always in awe when I see people who are standing out. And of course, you're talking about being cancer-free for 38 years. It would have been very easy for you to just say, unajua nini? Mimi nimepona. Like, not my monkey, not my problem. So, nimepona, so I will not bother to be involved. So we're also appealing for you men at home, get screened if you've not done it already. And if you do happen to be on the journey, if you do happen to know your diagnosis, get help, seek support, and talk. So thank you so much, Mr. Robert. I want to move on to a nutritionist that we have in our audience, because we have been talking about feeding the mind. And we've been talking about mental and feeding your psyche. What about the things that we put in our body? If she can tell us briefly, just a general outlook on, nutrition and cancer.
My name is Karen Kaumbuthu. I'm a clinical nutritionist and I volunteer here at Faraja. I'll start by saying, each type of cancer in regards to nutrition, it's different because even different people, different bodies react differently to the treatment, and that influences the food they take or the food that they're recommended for that specific type of cancer. But generally, we say a meal that is has whole grains, legumes, a lot of vegetables, and not only the dark green leafy vegetables, but also other vegetables we call the cruciferous vegetables, and a lot of fruits, and as well exercise, physical activity, it could be extreme, or it could be the light ones, and a lot of hydrating. So in a nutshell, that is just what is, I'd say, it's needed.
It's very easy for people to say just because it worked for Annabelle that it's definitely going to work for Karen or it's going to work for somebody else. So I think that is something that we would definitely want to explore as Dadas show in the future, and I hope you'll definitely stay tuned for that. So asante sana Karen. Let's give Karen a round of applause. And our final comment of the day is from Claire.
I have a comment and 2 questions. For the comment, there are different types of cancers, but breast cancer has gotten a lot of airtime or a lot of media coverage that the rest of the cancers are not as known. There's also a vaccine, like for example, cervical cancer, there's usually HPV vaccine, but not a lot of people know about it. I recently got to know about it like 2 months ago. So my question is, question number one, what can we do to spread awareness for all the different types of cancers? And for the second question, if there's a doctor, can he or she tell us about the HPV vaccine and who's supposed to get it, at what time?
The breast cancer movement globally has been at the forefront and therefore receiving a lot more media coverage, a lot more public awareness. But we must also appreciate that breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer globally. So, there are a lot more women that, and men as well, who get diagnosed with breast cancer. In terms of the other cancers, why are they not well known? I think all of us as Kenyans, as a people, media, and all other stakeholders, we have a responsibility to say, hello, yes, we know about breast cancer because this movement, like in North America from the 70s, they're the ones who pushed to have the cancer be considered really as a big public health problem. Yes. So what can we do about the other cancers? Yes. Because every month you have a different cancer observance. January was cervical cancer awareness. And March is colon cancer awareness. So there's a different cancer for every month, several cancers even for some of the months. We need to come up together with a strategy to highlight some of these cancers. Robert just talked about lymphomas. Again, that's a form of a blood cancer and affecting very many Kenyans as well. So as Kenyans, and need to work with the media to highlight some of these cancers, because the fact that we are not talking about them does not mean they are not common. Yes. Some of them affect men and women equally. Things like colon cancer, they affect men and women equally. Lymphomas, the same. Esophageal cancers, the same. So urging like families and survivors also to come out, so that we can work with organizations like Faraja to put word out there. And that's why I actually mentioned that of the many different types of support groups that we have, they are for different cancers. So we have support groups for people with gastrointestinal cancers, cancers of the food tract, whether it is stomach or colon, all those cancers. They all come together. But probably they don't receive as much publicity as they should. And we could make a difference this year, 2025, that we are going to highlight all these other cancers, even cancers in children. They are not as highlighted. Some people don't even know children get cancers, yet they do. So we have a responsibility, each one of us, our viewers, those viewing Dadas show, they need to tell the other person, but cancer does not only affect the breast, it affects all the other organs.
Oh wow. On your second question, we do happen to have a Dr. Stephanie, who is also part of the team here at Faraja, who can definitely tackle the HPV vaccine question. Dr. Stephanie, karibu sana.
My name is Dr. Stephanie, and I am the program manager at Faraja Cancer Support Trust. I'd like to answer the question on HPV vaccine. But before I answer that question, it's important to find out or to just discuss how cervical cancer develops. So for the first few minutes, we'll talk about the HPV virus. HPV simply stands for human papilloma virus. And it's a virus that is the most commonly sexually transmitted virus, even more than HIV. I usually start with this point so that you get the clear picture of how it happens. So there are two strains that are usually associated with cervical cancer, and they're the high risk. So this strain 16 and strain 18. HPV vaccine does not only protect against cervical cancer. We have other cancers as well that can be prevented through this vaccine. So the first cancer is penile cancer in men. We also have anal cancer, vulval cancer, vaginal cancer, and head and neck cancers, all of which can be prevented through the HPV vaccine. So in Kenya, normally girls between age 9 and age 14 are the ones who are vaccinated just before their sexual debut, because this is when the vaccine is most effective. Once you're exposed to the virus, you can still get the vaccine, but it's kind of less effective. Let me use the word kind of. So countries like Australia and Denmark have vaccinated most of their boys and girls, not just girls. And in Denmark, there's an elimination for cervical cancer already. They have already achieved cervical cancer elimination. So we are collaborating with the Ministry of Health to ensure that girls between ages 9 and 14 get this vaccine. Normally, if you are exposed to the virus, the HPV virus, in 90% of adults, they will clear it within 2 years. But now, if your body, for some reason, does not have the high immunity to clear, the virus persists and it causes changes within your cervix, which eventually lead to cervical cancer. And sometimes these changes can go unnoticed, because sometimes you don't have the symptoms, but then once you start experiencing the symptoms is when you can go to see your healthcare provider, and then they will guide you from that point. But what we normally recommend is early screening and early detection, because once you have maybe like a precancerous lesion, which means there's a stage where after you get the HPV and then it's advanced, you start getting precancer. At this point, it's still curable. And so we advise women to get screened and get treated and also get vaccinated.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stephanie. I mean, that's really, really well explained. I know there was a while back when people were concerned about the HPV vaccine being given to the girls in Kenya. So thank you so much for enlightening us. Let us give her a round of applause for that. So I will give my wonderful panel an opportunity to give us, a parting shot on this particular day.
We have a small medical fund that supports a few patients. We may not be able to support all of them. We wish we could. We'd want to. We would love to support every single person, but we are able to support a few patients. Yes. Sometimes patients come to us and they have very rare disease. Just like Dr. was saying, very rare disease. If you don't treat this person, in another year they will come back with the advanced disease. And maybe they are unable to pay, and that's where we try to support some of those patients, whether they are adults or children. And then we ask ourselves, then where do we get the money? How do we do this? It is actually the goodwill of men and women of this country, people like yourselves, who actually support us to run the programs, who contribute. We have two major fundraising events. One is coming up in May, which is targets young professionals like your cameramen and all those guys to come and do some whitewater rafting up in Sagana.
Oh, wonderful.
So, and these are all Kenyans who just will go and do some rafting to support the programs. We have a childhood cancer walk in September, again to support the programs we do.
I want to move on to our next parting shot. That is from Madam Annabelle Kanyari.
Yes, my parting shot is one thing I learned: love cures cancer. Love cures cancer. The love around you, the support around you, especially from your immediate family, love cures cancer. Number two, if you meet somebody who's having cancer, definitely we don't know what to say. Please connect them with somebody who's been in the same situation. If it is breast, get another breast survivor and they walk the journey. Because most of the time we tend to give the person wrong information. I've been through breast. I don't know about cervical. I don't know about colon. I don't know. So it is easier to get somebody who's been through that situation. We have, through Faraja, I came to know about Cancer Survivors Association of Kenya, where all of us are in the same pot. So we just ask in the wall, who's going through this or who has gone through this, and you're able to connect that person to this person who's been able to survive, and they walk the journey.
Kajuju, what's your parting shot?
be kind to yourself. As a caregiver, as a patient, every day won't be beautiful or sunny, but be kind to yourself, extend grace to yourself. But above all, as the good book says, love covers a multitude of sins. You might be angry at your patient because they're not eating, or they have mood swings with your food, they're angry at you, they talked back at you, but above all these things, love.
Love. Wow, I like the fact that the theme was, we are giving a round of applause. Love and be kind to yourself. You're only one you. So sometimes I find it pointless to compare yourself to somebody else. You cannot benchmark yourself with somebody else because you're the only person. So be kind to yourself, whether you're a survivor, whether you're a patient, whether you're a caregiver, whether you're Mr. Makomi here. When you feel like you've fallen short of certain things, be kind to yourself. Extend some grace to yourself and say, you know what, I didn't get them today, but tomorrow I definitely will. So we have come to the end of today's wonderful, very inspirational episode of Dadas Show. As always, I encourage you to keep this conversation going. Get in touch with us. Tell us, what's your story? What, if you're a cancer patient, a survivor, if you're in need of the services of Faraja, if you've seen anybody on our particular panel who you'd like to reach out to for one way of, in need of one thing or another, kindly reach out to us on Facebook at Dadas KBC Channel 1. You can also reach me directly across all social media platforms at Ashiko the host. Remember to also like and follow us so that we can build this Dadas Show community and we can reach as many people as we possibly can. So on behalf of Faraja Cancer Support Trust, the team at KBC and myself, Ashiko Mbune, I wish you all a fantastic week. Be kind to yourself, love one another, and I'll catch you same time, same place next week. But for now, goodbye.